Roughly a year ago, I was what you might call a tweaker. I was always hopped up on meth, crack or something of the sort. Because of this, I was never able to hold a stable job. My addiction prevented me from having even a bottom-of-the-barrel fast food job at one of the countless throughout my city, such as McDonald's, Wendy's, Rogano's Italian, or Subway. I had to get money to stay alive, and so that I could pay for my cheap highs. I often got money by snagging money from the many other homeless residents of the shitty city I lived in and by collecting bottles and cans and delivering them to the local bottle redemption center. However, how I got most of my money was harvesting and reselling scrap metal, whether it be breaking parts off the bottoms of cars, stealing storm grates, or most often, snagging copper wire from the many abandoned houses. When scouting out places to steal wire from, I found some sort of animal dug hole under the tall fence blocking off a giant dilapidated house that had been foreclosed roughly 20 years ago. Due to the tight security, I believed I was the first one to find a way in and dreamed of all the hundreds I could make off of the building. During the day, I slept in one of the many crawl spaces to avoid the weather while staying hidden from any possible security. At night, I either was on a drug and alcohol binge or I methodically made my way through the complex, stripping every inch of wire, or usually, doing both at the same time. After about a month, I had built up a mountain of scrap copper in the crawl space and expected to be finished in at most 2 more nights. On the second to last night, I worked as normal, stripping as much copper wire as I could. I even thought I'd be able to finish tonight if I worked hard enough. I was on the top floor, floor 3. I was busy breaking through a plaster wall with a crowbar when I heard a shuffling sound behind me. I turned around, thinking it was just rats. I was filled with dread when I turned around and saw a figure in front of a window down the hall from me. The streetlights shining through the glass illuminated a figure with a spherical body, thin limbs, and a tall crest, about 5 feet tall. The light suddenly went out, and only my dim flashlight allowed me to see, only if a little. Suddenly, I heard a gravelly voice say, right in front of me,
"Why are you stealing my copper wire?"
I dropped my flashlight and I began to run in the pitch black, shortly stumbling over some piece of furniture, falling, and tearing open my knee on a splintered floorboard sticking out of the floor. I heard running behind me and desperately shoved the piece of furniture behind me. I heard a loud thud, but by then I was up and limping as fast as I could towards a window. With no time to spare, I tore it open and jumped. Luckily I landed on a soft patch, surviving the fall without serious injury. I slept in the hole the animal dug, too tired to find anywhere to hide. The next morning I woke up to find something which made me think I was still dreaming. The house and fence were all gone, replaced by plain old grass lawn. In shock, I wandered over to where the center of the house once stood, only vaguely noticing the fact my leg was somehow entirely healed. I saw something which gave me a chill. It was a freshly coiled pile of copper wire, large enough that it must have been all the copper wire I had stripped from the house. There were splotches of red, sticky, metallic-smelling liquid all over the wire, which I think was probably just V8 tomato juice. There was a yellowed old note stuck in the wire. I picked it up. There were the words Rogan's Funtime Pizzeria scrawled on the top, with 2 bad clipperts of pizza on either side of the title, being more crust than pizza, with only 2 slices of pepperoni and putrid-looking, mustard yellow cheese. Below the titling was the small text order slip neatly printed above a few lines. Written on the lines was an address and the warning in all capital letters.
"Do not take my copper wire."
I realized with a shock I had stolen a Rogan's copper wire and survived an encounter with it. Regardless, I scrapped the note and called a friend to help me deliver the wire to a scrap metal dealer. With almost $15,000 in my pocket now, I decided to try to start a new life. I started with shitty minimum wage jobs, but slowly was employed by better and better jobs. Now, I own a small, but nice, house a few miles away from the city where the copper wire incident took place. Recently, I saw an ad for a night security guard job listed in the classifieds of a newspaper. It was for a company I only vaguely remembered, Rogan's Funtime Pizzeria.